Something has to change with healthcare. And I think that starts with redistribution of the power in healthcare to people who know what it's like to go in and see a patient, and take care of them. And what these corporations are really good at doing, PBMs are really good at doing, is diverting blame of healthcare to the physicians, to say, oh, look at these greedy doctors that are they're wanting higher reimbursement. Like, don't they make enough money? A lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize it's not patients against doctors. There's this third thing that's calling all the shots, that's making all the decisions, which is the health insurance companies, the corporate entities, the big hospital corporations, private equity.
Welcome to How I Doctor, where we're bringing joy back to medicine. My guest today needs literally no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. Dr. Will Flannery is a practicing ophthalmologist, but you probably know him as Dr. Glaucomflecken. Dr. Flannery is maybe the most recognizable face and voice in healthcare. Will tackles everything from physician burnout to cardiology versus nephrology, and takes all the forces that make practicing medicine or being a patient more challenging today. And it's not just Dr. Flannery's story that's inspiring, it's his willingness to be open about it too. He's a survivor of more medical disease than anybody should have to bear. And he uses his experiences as strengths to encourage physicians to show each other grace and kindness, and wants us to support one another. I think Will is not the internet eye dentist comedian that medicine deserves, but he is certainly the one that we all need right now. I'm thrilled to talk to him as a huge personal fan about how creativity can be a powerful force and antidote to burnout, and find a way to find meaning in the chaotic world of medicine. Welcome to the show, Dr. Will Flannery. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited.
It's truly an honor. I've followed you since even before Googate on Twitter. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are familiar with your videos, so I want to kind of focus on your humor and how you're using it to address, honestly, some really serious issues in the medical community. How did you get humor to be your outlet for coping? Has it always been part of you? Oh,
man. It's a very healthy coping mechanism, right? I've been doing comedy in some form or another, since I was in high school. That's when I started doing stand-up comedy. I've loved making people laugh, all my life. I was a class clown, if you can imagine that, in school.
Where'd your comedic voice come from? Are your parents funny? Or
my parents never cracked a joke throughout my entire childhood. No, I'm just kidding. But they do. I remember them. My parents were big Letterman fans back in the day, and so I was by extension. So I remember watching Letterman, and then the old Conan late night with Conan O'Brien, and then also Saturday Night Live. So those are my bread and butter comedy influences. I'm not like a generally big, expressive type of person. I'm actually somewhat introverted, and so I rely really on the writing, and I've learned how to do a little bit more of a stage presence, kind of, acting, for lack of a better way to describe what I do on TikTok.
You've said that medicine is serious business, but it's also outrageously funny.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
How do you bridge that gap between, like, we do some serious stuff and we talk about serious stuff, but how do you walk the line so well? Yeah. How do you navigate that?
Well, it's been trial and error. I quickly realized that the best approach is going to be focusing on the interactions between physicians, with each other, the interpersonal dynamics, conflicts, all the weird idiosyncrasies that physicians have. And seeing all the interactions between my attendings in med school and in residency is like, oh man, there's just so much comedy here. Like all these people that are arguing about fluid balance in a way that would seem not real to anybody outside of medicine. And so by doing that, I was able to really stay away from the more serious, grave aspects of life as a physician and work as a physician. And so my content really, it doesn't involve that type of material, right? That's much more difficult to make funny. But the way an orthopedic surgeon and a radiologist interact with each other, that's easy. I could do that all day.
Well, I just love that you don't punch down as you've talked about on Twitter, just that.
Yeah. That's part of the patient.
Yeah, it's almost too easy, and we're certainly the ones in the position of power.
Yeah, there's no comedy in that. Patients are very vulnerable, and my ultimate goal with that part of things is I don't want to do anything that's going to undermine trust in physicians. It's already
hurting.
Like it's already hurting as it is. Like I don't want to be the one to make it like a lot worse.
A lot of people look at your videos and they say, "Oh my God, I could never do that. Where I don't have the time." But you obviously have to start somewhere. How do you fit that into your career? You're still a practicing ophthalmologist.
I am. Well, part of the way to do it is be an ophthalmologist.
The road to happiness.
Honestly, it's like part of it because I'm very fortunate in where I am, in my ophthalmology life. Because when I started this, I was a resident, and I don't care what field you're in, residency is demanding in terms of your time and energy. And so I wouldn't have been able to do all this as a resident. No way. And so in residency, I was just cracking jokes on Twitter, and that was the extent of it. I went into private practice ophthalmology and got out of the academic environment. I became my own boss. I can dictate, when I have time off, what my hours are to a certain extent. And it just, because I'm in this type of clinical practice, I do have time to do more. Sometimes I'm like, oh, should I just quit social media and just do ophthalmology? And then there's other times I'm like, maybe I should quit ophthalmology and just do social media.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine my life without both of them. And so it's been a work in progress trying to figure out how to balance the two.
Well, you've created a lot of new personas over the years. Where are these personas coming from? Are they still memories from med school? I would imagine
some of them are
interacting with. You're probably not interacting with orthopods a lot right now.
You don't think so? No, there's no bones in the eye. Is that what you're saying?
Not many.
I can't remember the last time, honestly, professionally, I interacted with there's one disease that can. It still does not require me to interact with an orthopedic surgeon, but there's this thing called perture retinopathy where
I diagnose that every day in the ER. It's crazy.
Of course, right? Long bone fracture, you get these little emboli of fat that go to the eye. There you go. That's just your ortho ophthalmology crossover of the day. I mean, most of it's still like med school, honestly, and some of it's just because I follow different people on social media, like different specialties. I either see what they write and I put a personality to their writing and usually it's pretty accurate. But a lot of it still comes just from my experiences. I mean, there's only so many specialties, right? And there's still some specialties I haven't hit just mainly because I don't think I've ever interacted with a plastic surgeon. I have no idea what they're like.
Well, you've made such a rich tapestry of recurring characters, the Glaucomflecken cinematic universe. What's the unifying theory or the message you're trying to convey in your videos, do you think? I
just want people to laugh at themselves.
Not take life so seriously?
Yeah, that's ultimately, I think that's like the biggest thing. It's kind of a weird job what we have. It's very strange what we do. And to be able to look at it through a comedic lens at times, it helps bolster our humanity, I think, in our own eyes, but also in the eyes of the public. They see us enjoying a little bit of comedic ribbing toward ourselves, toward each other. And that shows people that, oh, this doctor is just a normal person that just happens to do this very strange and important job. And it just humanizes us, right?
I mean, Will, that's actually my favorite part of what you do, even more than the comedy, is just showing that we're just humans. I mean, you really often have a message about self-expression and having to balance that with our professionalism, but that we're well-trained humans is the way I put it. We're not robots. We're not gods. Why do you think that's so important to you that you want to get that message across?
I've had so many experiences as a patient. I kind of know what I like to see in a doctor from the patient standpoint. And that's someone that actually has a personality. I know what it feels like to have to feel like you need to suppress that, because we've all done it at some point in our careers. You kind of just keep that side of you a secret. And because it's not professional to want to tell a joke or to want to, cry or whatever it is, show any kind of emotion. I know that I appreciate that in my doctors. And so I want to emulate that.
That we're flawed, imperfect creatures, but we're trying our best. And yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you think the state of medicine is like today? And what do you think has changed since maybe you were in med school?
It certainly is. It's hard to be a doctor. I mean, what's changed is, I think, the public perception of medicine in general has been a big thing with social media in particular. I mean, there's some good things about it, that patients have more autonomy now, which is a good thing through social media and interacting with healthcare professionals on social media. There's less of a patriarchal type of situation where the doctor's word is final. So there's people are taking ownership over their health, which is, I think, a great thing. Like, that's so important. Have the agency to ask questions and challenge physicians, challenge healthcare professionals. But on the flip side, it's also brought like distrust to an extreme degree, to where now we don't actually have the expertise to tell people, like, recommend treatment or what they should do, or whether it's vaccines or whatever it is. And that's dangerous. I feel like we're trying to fight these two things, right? Like, we want patients to have autonomy, but we also need them to like respect our expertise and sometimes listen to us. Hopefully listen to us all the time, just like we need to listen to patients. Like, it needs to be a back and forth. I think it's getting harder and harder to find that balance.
Yeah, I think it does feel like there's kind of an erosion of expertise, or that doing our grueling training isn't sufficient, or is equal to, somebody else reading something online or something.
Yeah, the misinformation. It's just, there's so much of it now, and I think people are designed to, like, you want to believe somebody saying something, right? Especially if they're a very charismatic, engaging person, like you see often on social media, because that's what people who are engaging and charismatic do. They go on social media and they become influencers. And they may not be correct at all in what they're saying, but if they say it confidently enough, you're going to have people that just say, oh, this person, I just looks like they know what they're talking about. You have to like tell people, no, it's actually, you don't need to sun your perineum. That's not going to treat your rectal cancer. So we have to like debunk the nonsense. No, you don't need to use aged urine eye drops. That's not going to do anything for your eyes.
I saw castor oil recently on TikTok as well.
Castor oil. Yeah, that's another one. Like, so we have to like tell people, don't do this thing that's obviously nonsense, but then also like the actual things that they should be doing, right? It feels really challenging, right? It's hard enough just to try to get the quality medical information out there without having to deal with all this other nonsense that really shouldn't be out there in the first place.
Totally agree. It's exasperating. Yeah, Will, you've got a lot of resident and med student fans. What would you say you've learned that you only learned like once you were once you were done with training?
Oh, like how the healthcare system works?
Yeah.
Isn't it outrageous? It's wild to me that we still don't just inform med students about the way the healthcare system works. It's a huge blank spot in our education. And going into private practice, it was a really large uphill climb trying to figure out how billing works and what is prior authorization. What about peer-to-peer reviews? Why do I have to do this? What about this carrier versus this carrier? And a PBM. I mean, I didn't even heard of the term pharmacy benefit manager until I was out of training and practice. It's like, so there's a lot of our healthcare system is so complex, and we do a terrible job of preparing new physicians to practice in that complex healthcare system. And some of it wasn't until I was a patient until I actually felt it. I felt the weight of all these moving parts that are bearing down and weighing down patients and forcing patients to navigate those complex systems.
You're done with residency or fellowship and you're like, oh God, thank God I'm finally done. And then it's like, nope, there's actually a whole third more chunk of stuff you have to figure out, quality metrics and billing. And
oh yeah.
All that.
Congrats. You learned the medicine. Great. By the way, you're still going to learn like just as much medicine out of training than you are in training. But then you also have, you get a PhD in health policy just because you have to.
For listeners, if you haven't seen Will's 30 Days of Healthcare, he did a series last year. Every single day I was a health policy major in undergrad, so I particularly appreciated that.
Oh, good.
Will,
yeah.
were there like one or two topics that when you had to research them, you were like, thought was the most egregious or surprising, or like, you've got to be kidding me. There's no way this is real.
Well, I mentioned the pharmacy benefit managers, and that was probably like in 2021 or so. And then I reposted that during that series just because I love that video, because it took me so long to like figure out exactly what a pharmacy benefit manager is and does. And so that was one thing that blew my mind, and the power that they have. Another one was the whole idea of physician-owned hospitals and the ban on physician ownership of hospitals. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah. Well, let private equity own them, but God, for a physician,
right?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or churches, or there's any other entity can own a hospital except, and it has no basis in data. In fact, the data shows the opposite, that certain outcomes are better, costs are lower. It's more efficient when physicians own the hospital. But the lobbying effort on behalf of the American Hospital Association and others is so good. They threw so much money at the Affordable Care Act to include that ban on physician ownership. And so that was one that really just kind of blew me away. I was like, whoa, I can't believe this is a real thing. Because we're so segmented in healthcare, and as physicians, we know about our field and not much about anybody else's. And so for me, and this is like this with any of my videos, it's like I get to learn a thing or two. And sometimes it's actually really useful information, like how people with disabilities, what additional barriers they have to navigate in the healthcare system, like getting authorizations for wheelchairs or hearing aids or something like that. Sometimes it's like not useful information at all. Like I don't need to know what argument emergency medicine is having with neurology about blood
TPA.
thinners. But here I am.
I
got that stuck in my head. That's not going to help me at all in my career. So anyway.
Well, if you have like a CRAO, that's helpful. See right there.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. How often is that really helpful? Like never.
Exactly.
Not really.
Ever feel like everyone else in healthcare is making money hand over fist, while doctors are the ones always getting pay cuts? That's where Offcall comes in. At Offcall, we're helping doctors take back control of medicine. The next time you're asked to see more patients in less time, or forced to submit yet another prior authorization for your patients, Offcall is here to help. Visit offcall.com and sign up today to join a community that's putting doctors back in control of their careers.
You're like kind of secretly subversive. You've said that, you kind of tricking people into learning things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Have you always been like kind of an advocate for change and trying to get people to learn this stuff? Like you didn't have to do 30 days of healthcare, but like what awakened that side of you?
So I had my cardiac arrest. I had to deal with the healthcare. I had all this surprise billing and everything. And that's what really like woke me up to the reality of what patients have to experience in our healthcare system, and seeing it from the other side, that really showed me what's going on.
The thing that I really love about your content is that you're both trying to look out for patients and also look out for other medical professionals. Are there things that you think would hit that sweet spot that like, God, if we changed this, God, that'd be so much better for doctors and so much better for patients, regardless of what it would do to whatever, the health insurance industry or
I mean, yeah, I think the physician ownership, hospital ownership is actually a big one. Just to give more power to people who actually take care of patients. When taking power away from corporate entities, the private equity firms, because they have all the power here, and we've seen what happens, what's going on. Something has to change with healthcare, and I think that starts with redistribution of the power in healthcare to people who know what it's like to go in and see a patient, and take care of them. And what these corporations are really good at doing, PBMs are really good at doing, is diverting blame of healthcare to the physicians, to to say, oh, look at these greedy doctors that are they're wanting higher reimbursement. Like, don't they make enough money? Like, that's like, why are they so greedy? It's all these things that sow this discontent in society and kind of anger and distrust toward physicians. We're trying to protect our own well-being, our own jobs, our own way of practicing medicine, and also trying to protect patients. And those two things they really go hand in hand. It's not one or the other. It's a lot of the changes that we advocate for are to help patients, and by virtue of helping patients, it's going to help us. A lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize that there's this like evil third thing, you know? It's not patients against doctors. There's this third thing that's calling all the shots, that's making all the decisions, that all the laws are benefiting. And we need to be focusing on that third thing, which is the health insurance companies, the corporate entities, the big hospital corporations, private equity.
You hit on a really interesting point that we see what's happening. And I think that's totally true. I mean, that's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast and, building out Offcall is doctors are seeing what is happening to not just the system and where they're practicing, but like to their patients as well. How do you think we can take back some agency and bring back some power so that we can help support our patients?
I mean, it's got to start through legislation. We've had wins, we've had we have the No Surprises Act. We had prior authorization reform that went through in a few different states, most recently in New Jersey.
Yeah, we had Tina Shaw on who got that done in Jersey, and yeah, she had the same idea, like state by state making changes.
Exactly, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to be the small incremental, like. God bless the people who are like, we need Medicare for all. We need universal health care. I would love for everybody to have easy access and affordability of health care. But I mean, call me a pessimist, but we're not going to have like this giant wholesale change like right away. Like we need to collect wins. We need to make a difference slowly, and then have people benefit from those wins, like this No Surprises Act, like going state by state and getting prior authorization reform. So we need to keep fighting on that level, and then eventually it'll get bigger and bigger. On the social media side of things, we can do a lot of educating, like what I do with my videos. A huge part of advocacy is just educating, because if you don't know what the problems are, how are you going to work on fixing it? And we all in medicine, like we generally know what the problems are. We know where the pain points are. The public doesn't know.
Yeah.
All they know is that healthcare sucks for them. It's unaffordable and they can't get it. And who do you think they're going to blame for that? They're going to blame physicians.
Yeah, that's the piece that I think is particularly like painful and hard to swallow for physicians. It really feels like I am doing everything I can, but we're the face. Yeah. We're the ones in power versus, right. When it's prior auth, it has nothing to do with me. It's your insurance company that is forcing this. I would love for you to have the MRI. And that's, I think, the hard part to swallow is that the physicians feel that we're the ones to blame when we're like, I don't know, I feel like an innocent bystander.
Exactly. People overlook the value that just educating people using your platform, and whatever that is, whether you're like me, you have millions of people that watch your stuff, or whether it's on Facebook, you have a couple hundred in your community. Oh, let me tell you about prior authorizations for cataract surgery or for colonoscopy, or this really frustrating thing that happened with a patient recently. Just highlighting that, and so that people know exactly what the problems are, and they can point their ire and attention to the right place.
Well, do you think physicians also need like kind of a more private place to kind of get the gallows humor out? Like the physician lounge, or, there's stuff that you probably don't talk about on social media. There's certainly stuff that I say in the doctor's room in the ER that,
we all have to have our outlets. There's always going to be a need for that. And not everything is for social media.
You have a partnership with the New England Journal to, again, trick people into learning things.
How about that? Huh?
That was certainly on your bingo card. Yeah, exactly. I love that you required your stuff to be open access.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a prerequisite.
I just think It's brilliant, and it's a great way of like using your power for good, I think. What other changes do you think we should or could make in medicine that we maybe take for granted? Like, oh, the New England Journal's, subscriber only, I can't access this. What other stuff are we like, oh, that's just how it works in medicine?
I think publishing is a big one. That's a really tricky thing. There's a lot of powerful entities that are kind of controlling access to the latest research. And so figuring out a way for research to be open access. I know a lot of people are working on processes and things to do that without, gouging the researchers on these APCs, these publishing fees, which is not the spirit of open access. We still have a ways to go with how we treat trainees, the amount of debt we're putting them into with education. I mean, you can tell just with how many, like within 2 or 3 years, I think every resident is going to be in a union. And that tells you that they're not being treated fairly. Otherwise, why would they want to join a union? And so I think we have a long ways to go with how we treat residents, but also just practicing physicians too. Like that's gonna be the next thing, because now United Healthcare is the largest employer of physicians in the U.S. And do you think they're going to be treating those physicians well? I mean, probably not. They aren't already, and I've heard from a lot of them. That's a big thing that a lot of people aren't really thinking about, other than physicians, and trying to figure out how to make that system better. And it might be unionization. I don't know.
We're already seeing a trend of a lot of brand new attendings. They've been out of residency for like 1 or 2 years, and they're already thinking, I don't know that I want to do this.
Trying to find a way out. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like looking for the side gig to try to retire early or figure out a different pathway altogether. And it's kind of sad, right? Because you put so much of your... It's
super sad, and it's scary.
So much of your life.
I'm going to need healthcare by doctors that are like committed to, if I have some weird thing, I want that doctor to be like, what does Graham have? And like be intellectually curious, but not be burned out, so he or she can actually think about that stuff too. Yeah,
I feel like a physician's job needs to get simplified to a certain extent, right? There's too many things pulling us in different directions with documenting and all the regulatory burden that we have to deal with, prior authorizations and peer-to-peer reviews and like all that. That's what like all this, just reforming this stuff and just making it easier to practice medicine.
Do you have any advice for physicians who want to look at a side job or find stuff outside of traditional clinical practice?
Obviously, I have a side gig. Like this is a side gig. Glaucomflecken is one. I didn't like say, I'm going to do comedy so I can make extra money. No, this was just, I had a hobby, something I was really passionate about, comedy, and I put time into it. I didn't start making money off of Glaucomflecken for, I think it was the first like 4 or 5 years I was doing it. And so it wasn't my driving force. There's all kinds of things you can do as a physician to make extra money, doing like, being expert witness and doing surveys and stuff. But that's all that stuff's, I can't imagine that's going to make your life better, like make you right, like make your quality of life better. So like, I would encourage people to have something outside of medicine that you just love to do, that you can turn off the medical part of your brain. Now, in my infinite wisdom, I decided to combine my one thing I like to do into medicine. So I never really get to turn off my medicine brain, but
it's that creativity you talk about.
Yeah, it's the creativity part of it. I get to use a different part of my brain, but having something that you can enjoy, I think that's so important. And that's what I tell residents and med students is like, hold on to whatever that thing is that you put in your likes and hobbies section of your application. Like keep it in your life in whatever way you can.
Well, Will, I've just got some kind of rapid fire questions.
Sure.
To end us out here. What is the number one thing you wish your patients knew about you, Dr. Will Flannery?
That my name is not actually Dr. Glaucomflecken. Some people really did not know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are the best and worst parts of your specialty?
Let's see. The best part's easily cataract surgery. Fantastic. So much fun. Takes 7 minutes to take out a cataract, and you get patients seeing better. Worst part, pink eye, conjunctivitis. It's awful. It's gross. It's disgusting. Hate it.
Will, if you could cure one disease forever, what would it be and why?
I go with ALS.
Oh, that's what my grandma died of. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really awful
shitty one. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I was gonna say I was thinking about macular degeneration, but I was trying to think outside the ophthalmology box on that one. So there
Very
you go.
good. What's something you did not learn in medical school but is crucial to your daily practice?
How to manage a team
Oh yeah.
in private practice.
Medicine is a team sport.
It's when you're also an employer, I'd say just as much of my job is peopling, like managing people and personalities and motivation and just keeping people happy and cared for from the employer side of things. That's was something that I have had to learn on the fly.
What's the best financial advice you've received?
Get your disability insurance as early as possible, which is something I was unable to do until it was, it's too late now. So I just get laughed at whenever I say, by the way, I had a cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind giving me some disability insurance.
Well, what's the most ridiculous thing you've been dinged for in healthcare? Do you get dinged in ophthalmology?
I mean, I got dinged a lot as a med student. It was the med student's job to like hit the automatic door button.
Okay.
Early enough so that the surgery team could go through
the timing.
doors.
Yeah.
The time. Yeah. I didn't hit him fast enough.
You idiot.
I did not time it well. So I got a talking to about that. Thought of one more thing I got. Oh, here's one.
Perfect.
I didn't calculate Winter's formula on an ICU patient.
I created MD Calc, so that.
Yeah, I still don't really know what Winter's formula is, but anyway, I remember getting making my attending mad about it.
What's a lesson that you learned from a mentor in medicine that you still think about or still shapes you today?
Don't assume the relationships of the people in the exam room.
Yeah. That's one that you learn early, I feel like. And if you don't, you don't get very far. Yeah.
You never know if someone's going to be a spouse or father or mother or what generation you're looking at here. So anyway, thinking about that saved me a couple times.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Where is the best place you're sending people these days to find all of your content in your podcast?
Well, to hear my day-to-day thoughts, I've been using Blue Sky a lot more.
Yep. I saw you joined. Welcome to the Med Sky Club.
Yeah, I'm there now more than I am on X. So I actually don't personally post much to X anymore. So Blue Sky, for videos, the videos always go up on TikTok first, and then to my YouTube channel. It's all just Glaucomflecken everywhere. So yeah, and Instagram as well.
Well, amazing. Thank you again. I really appreciate it, taking the time and honestly just having humor plus representing the needs of patients and doctors, I think is something that you're really special at doing.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining me today. For interviews with physicians creating meaningful change, check out offcall.com/podcast. Make an account on Offcall to confidentially share your details about your work and sign up for our newsletter where you can hear more about the latest trends we're seeing in physician pay. You can find How I Doctor on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll have new episodes weekly. This has been and continues to be Dr. Graham Walker. Stay well, stay inspired, and practice with purpose.